Good evening, everybody. So I actually found a video that somebody had produced at Black Canyon Road in Ramona, California. Back in 1987, I was in the military, and this is where I got in the terrible, terrible car wreck. And so I want to talk about a true story of survival and also some things that maybe we all don't give ourselves credit enough for. So I want to show just a little bit more snippet so that you can get what kind of embankment we dropped off. It was roughly somewhere between 300 and 500 feet deep. So I want you to actually see. Here we go. As you can see there to the right, it was a horrific, horrific accident. So I'd like to talk about what really happens, like really what happens when you're in this type of situation. Because as you can see there, it was not just a little it definitely was not just a small little turn that we went off of. And actually, what happened is my friend was driving, and when he came around one of those corners, we fishtailed. And when we fishtailed, we hit the side of the mountain. As we hit the side of the mountain, it shot us off like a torpedo, and we went down into the the gully there that was basically straight up and down. It was straight up and down, and honestly, folks, I didn't know this story about what happened until just recently when my mom was telling me what occurred. As you can see there, it was a very rocky place, and that's why we went there. It was a lot of fun. We would go cliff diving there, and I was into cliff diving a lot in the 80s. Anything that had to do with the water, snorkeling, cliff diving, scuba diving. I just wanted to be in the water. I was living in California, and who wouldn't want to be at the beach, right? So that's, of course, no, there was no side rails at all. But it was a very rocky terrain, as you can see, and these are actual pictures from Black's Canyon. Now, we're not talking Black's Beach, the naked beach. We're talking Black's Canyon. There's a lot of hiking trails there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we were on that damn road, and that damn road, as you can see, is very, very curvy. And you jump on the highway. We were in Escondido, and we drive up to Ramona, and we would be daredevils up there and have a lot of fun. This particular weekend, it ended up costing my friend her life, and you can see here. I mean, it was stunning. When we used to go there at certain times of the year, this picture on the left, that would just be flowing with water, just water everywhere. Like you could jump. You see that little hole on the left? You could actually jump in that little hole and go swimming. And I mean, it was a blast. And then the water sometimes was in different spots was really warm. I remember a lot of good things about it, but it did cause me a lot of issues. Um, and then you can see the cliffs that we used to jump off there. Now they're graffitied up. Back in the day, in the 80s, they didn't have graffiti and trash everywhere like they do today. But there is the embankment. There is what we dropped off of. And I'll tell you what, folks, I remember going off like a rocket, and I must have passed out, right? And I didn't remember what really happened other than my mind was playing tricks on me once I got out of the car. And that's one thing that we've talked a lot about here at Off the Wall Prepper is mental preparedness, because we really don't know how we're going to react or what's going to happen until you're put in a situation. But you can see how deep that is, that we went straight down that cliff. And my mom just told me, because we never really talked about it for years and years, because it was something very hard for me to even speak about without having a meltdown. And It caused me to have PTSD. Um, it caused me to have nightmares, night sweats, wake up screaming, all kinds of things that were just crazy and out of character for me. But the reason I brought this up is we're going to be talking about true survival stories here in June and July. And I thought, what better way is to talk about it with my own story. And here's an actual picture of a car. And I told Dragonflies that car is actually set in Black's Canyon. And my heart sank when I seen that car. It really just brought me back to those memories of what happened. So my mother said that I remember I remember waking up after the impact. And as you all know, my friend, she perished in that car wreck, and I held her hand. I don't want to go into that tonight, okay? But what happened is I remember the engine was running, and it kind of freaked me out that the engine would still be going. And then I started smelling gas. And I don't know if I did the right, I guess I did the right thing. I don't know to this day. I turned off the ignition and I had broke my arm and I had my back was injured pretty good. And so I started like pulling myself out of the wreckage. Now that car is the wrong direct. I mean, like we were upside down and there was a sunroof. So I was really disoriented trying to figure out, and I remember this part, like trying to figure out like where am I? What's happened? And then I look over and Renee is taking her last breath and I'm holding her hand and she died. But the thing was is that I got out of the car with all my might. I got out of the car and my survival instincts kicked in. And each and every one of us has survival instincts. We all do. Um, so I remember getting out of the car and I remember what my mom told me and what I remember are totally different. You know, totally different from what I didn't know that I climbed up part of that cliff. I didn't know that I had enough strength to even get that far up that cliff. And the EMTs and the pastor from the Navy told my mother that they found me on a ledge on that I had started climbing up the cliff. And so I think that, you know, when we're all put into these terrible situations, that we're going to have that animal instinct come in, and we're going to it's like you don't even you're just reacting. You're reacting. And it could, you know, when it kicks in, it's like an adrenaline rush and you just keep on going. And you don't even really I don't really remember a lot about climbing up that cliff. I don't remember. This is how deep the cliff was, so you can see, and the wreck was in 1987. Um, you know, you can imagine we were all the way at the top and we came all the way down. So it was quite, I don't even know how many feet it was. I always say 500. I may be way, way off. There's the actual edge and very, very close to where we went off. Because what happened is, like I said, we hit that left hand side and it shot us like just shot us over into the air and and rolled all the way down. Um, very, very scary situation. I was young. I was like 20, I think 20. I don't even think I was 21 yet. Maybe I was 21. But I think the thing that we have to realize is that when we're put into a really, really bad situation, we're going to adapt. Adaptation equals survival. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stories, but I wanted to start us off by kind of sharing that with you. And I want to share this with you right now. What you really need to know for survival purposes, whether it's in a jet or in the wilderness, is that the system we call emotion works powerfully and quickly to motivate behavior. At the sound of the first droning of all the shells coming, we rush back in one part of our being 1,000 years. By the animal instinct that is awakened in us, we are led and protected. It is not conscious. It is far quicker, much more sure, less conscious. One cannot explain it. A man is walking along with the thought of suddenly he throws himself down on the ground and a storm of fragment flies harmlessly over him. Yet he cannot remember either to have heard the shells coming or to have thought of flinging himself down on the ground. But he had not abandoned himself to the impulse. He would now be a heap of mangled flesh. It is this second sight, that gut feeling, that really we all need to tune in on and listen to. Because I'm sure you've all had that gut feeling where you just can't explain it, but you feel like something's wrong. And sometimes we don't listen to it and we end up with a bad situation. Sometimes we listen situation. When a real true SHTF situation happens, we're going to have to learn to key in on that sense. And that sense is really trust in your gut. Tr- Trust in your gut feelings. Be it if you walk to the door and somebody's knocking on the door and the sound sounds aggressive, maybe it would be best to step back and really be aware of what's going on. Trusting your gut is so important in prepping. And I'm sure you all have had that feeling. How many of you have had that feeling in a bad situation or just a person rubs you wrong? Or maybe you see an aggressive animal and you just have this gut feeling that you better get in the defensive stance because it's about to go down. Hit a one if you've been put in that situation before. Because I have more than once. I had the break in Los Angeles in my apartment. I had this terrible, terrible car accident that I'm very, very blessed that I'm still here. And I think that learning to trust our gut, learning to really tune into that sense of your gut, like you just know that maybe, I know there's someone in the chat right now that had to disappear off YouTube because not only were they being bullied, they were being harassed. And it was in her best interest. And I'm glad to see you back. I'm not going to say your name, you know who you are, but I'm glad to see you back. But see, she had that gut feeling that it was time for her to like maybe go on the little bit on the DL, not to be out and about on YouTube. And see, it can happen anywhere, not only on YouTube, but maybe you're at a store and some kind of character walks in and you just have this gut feeling that he's up to no good or she's up to no good. We won't just blame it on the guys because women are very, very violent. Uh, Women are quick to snap. And so it's just one of those things is learning to trust your freaking gut and making sure that, we've talked about it before. If you go in a restaurant and they try to set you by the door, especially in 2023, nope, I'm not sitting by the door. And you don't have to tell them why. Just tell them, hey, can you give me a different table? Know your exits at your stores. Most people walk in and out the main exit. It may be a good time to learn when you walk in a store to look around for the emergency exits, the warehouse, the back room, whatever it is, right? Because those things could save your freaking life. Oh shit, Allie. Be careful. So I got two people on here with that. I forgot about your situation too, Alley Cat. There's somebody else in the chat, same thing. It's really important to realize that trust in your gut, trusting that like your instinct. It's your animal instinct is very important. And I want to talk about this a little bit. We're going to be talking about some different things, but you know, world when we have no law, right? First they're going to come begging, and then they're going to come demanding. And I heard this the other night, and I was like, boy, doesn't that like fit? Because first people are going to be nice when the SHTF happens, and the same with like any type of major catastrophe, they're going to come begging. But then once you give in, you're going to have to really evaluate those situations because then what's going to happen? They're going to come and demand. They might get 5 or 6 extra people, and they're going to come demanding it. We're going to talk about a lot of true stories this month of true survival in the wilderness, in cars, in vehicles, all kinds of things that have happened to real people. And I think that maybe we can all take a little something from them from these stories. Just like, I never ever imagined that day going to Black's Canyon that that's what would happen. I never imagined that we would be in that type of car accident where, somebody would lose their life. I didn't know where the other 3 occupants were, and it draws me back into a time that was very, very dark for me, and so sometimes it's hard to talk about it in depth. Y'all have seen me get choked up before because Renee was only 18 years old and she lost her life. You know, there wasn't any way really to change what happened. Like, I always think back, well, what if I would have been driving? Maybe it wouldn't have happened. Courtney was driving, he hit those washboards and it just shot us off. But I had to stop beating myself up. I had to stop beating myself up because we can't beat ourselves up about the way we react to something or anything like that. I thought I was weak because I quit talking. I shut down. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I thank God to this day that my mom came to California and I snapped out of it because I literally was not talking to nobody. And then when I went back to the island, I got very, very angry and and was on destruction mode. I would fight if you just looked at me. And that's how I was dealing with it. I think each one of us, as we're put into those kinds of situations, we're going to deal with stuff differently, right? We're not going to know. Like Alley Cat's saying, I never sat with my back to the door. And that's a good thing, Alley Cat. It's really important to be aware of your surroundings in every aspect of your life because if you have to switch over into survival mode, it could be one of those things that you may not be able to get out of it. That's why it's so important not to walk around with your face in your phone. That's why it's so important not to be always looking down. If you're walking and you're walking down with your head down, you make yourself for a real easy target. See, if they see someone standing up that looks, even if you are not in the best shape, just stand up when you're out in public, push those shoulders back, and really let people know that you're there. It doesn't mean you have to be aggressive, right? It just means that you have to walk with confidence because they have done research studies on people attacking people. And a lot of people get attacked because they look timid. Their walk's different. Their characteristics are different. Things of that sort are different. Uh oh. What do we got going on now? Oh, what the heck? Oh, that's cool. Everybody hit the emoji button on the side. Throw up some love on the screen. I don't see it on the screen now. That's really cool. So we got a new feature on YouTube. Dragonfly's over here pushing the heart, heart, heart. You'll see a big fat heart. Press that heart because y'all love me. But you can see it, but I can't see it on here. That's weird. See, I don't like StreamYard. What I see is different than what y'all see. It's weird. But thanks for showing us that, Dragonflies. So now I better see a bunch of hearts, happy faces, something. uh, girl pepper, the girl. That's a tongue twister. Everyone, welcome, girl purple gamer. Welcome. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. I'm glad everybody came in. We're going to be talking about a bunch of these different stories, and this is another fabulous book that I've dove into, and I want to bring it to the channel in a different way, so that we're not all like, oh my gosh, you know there's a lot of things that we have to realize that when these situations happen, that we really need to have like this switch, and that switch comes from practice. That switch comes from doing things that you're uncomfortable in. That switch can turn on or off and make things, go better for you. Or if you haven't practiced, if you haven't like really got out there and practiced with your gear, what does it matter if you have a bug out bag? What's it matter if you have a get home bag? What's it matter if you have a ferro rod? If you really don't practice with it, you're really leading yourself to nowhere, right? I can't tell, RR. I cannot tell. I am not telling. I will tell after we have it a couple weeks because I have something special I'm doing with it. So shh, RR, always bringing up trouble. I hope that everybody enjoyed our first one. close encounter with death, because I'll tell you what, it was not. It was a close encounter for me, but for my friend, she lost her life, and that really does bring you to the point that you go like, what could I have done different? What could have changed? We didn't have any water in the vehicle. What if nobody would have found me? What if they wouldn't have found me? I ran all these different scenarios through my head, like, okay, what if nobody would have found me? We didn't have any water. We had a six pack of beer. What is a six pack of beer going to do for you in a survival situation? Anybody? I don't think it would do a whole lot. That's why me and Dragonflies, no matter where we go, what we do, we have a actual situation. Oh, thank you, RCX. Thank you. Thank you very much, RCX. No matter where we go, and y'all should take a hit on this too, is have like a little we have like a first aid kit. We have a portable tire inflator. Because I have a bad back and a torn meniscus, we have a 2-ton floor jack. One for self defense, two to do a tire. We have duct tape. We have some MREs. We have some bars, like protein bars. But no matter if it's summer or winter, you should have some of these things in your vehicle. Because I'll tell you what, if you get stuck out there, it can really suck wind. You don't know that you might not go off in an embankment. And if you go off in that embankment, maybe you'll be stuck in the car before somebody will find you. Maybe you'll be, lucky enough you can pull yourself from the wreckage to hang in there. So there's a lot of things, folks, that you should think about. And being on our prepared journey, I think it's really important to take those steps while you can. Take the steps while you can. And that's why we're going to be talking about these close encounters and some real life, down to earth stories that happen to people. Because I think that maybe you guys can, ladies and gentlemen, frogs, puff puffs, lurkers, whoever's here, right? Maybe you can take something from it. And if you ever get pushed in the corner, you'll be like, you'll just react and come out like a lion, right? Come out like a lion. I hope that everybody's having a great midweek. We've got a couple more days. I will be setting up the live stream for Sunday for members only. And it's not to exclude anybody. Remember that, folks. We don't really like to do that on this channel, but it is something that YouTube asks us to do. So we do it once a week. We also have trivia coming up. Oh, it's a brand new trivia game. Is anybody excited about trivia? I love making the trivia games. They just take time. And this is an all new trivia game. So, Remaining Remnant, you better get on point. RCX, you better get your stuff together. Yeah, and Tamara, that is a great idea, because it's not that you're sizing them up to be aggressive, right? It's that you're actually they know that you have touched eye contact with them, and it may make them go on to another softer target. And that's a very good point, Tamara. We've talked about that before, and I think that it's very important. Just like I said, don't be walking around slumped down like you are not in where you're at right then. Does that make sense? Hold on a minute. Dragonflies has a story. Come over here and just tell it. Come on. Dragonflies has a story. I don't. It's your story. It's not my story. Come on, Dragonflies. You don't have to go on camera. Just come on over here, Dragonflies. Dude, she's making us coffee. Well, you're making me one too. Which situation? Well, let me tell you a situation that happened to Dragonflies when we were in the RV. Oh, she noticed this guy in a store because he looked so out of place. He looked out of place, and she came home telling me about it. And she said as soon as she seen him, she was to the side, to the and working her way toward the exit, which is a good thing to do too, because I've seen some crazy, crazy stuff with crime, some crazy stuff. Yeah, he just did. Come over here so they can hear you. Hold on. She's gonna tell you. That's why I looked out a place. He's in Bodunk, Missouri, looking like a. Oh, yeah, that was when we were at the. Okay, that's when we were traveling. So see, situational awareness. That's a really good thing that Dragonflies did because I remember. Okay, I didn't remember which situation because we had another one. We were traveling in the RV, and I had overextended myself. We drove a 36-foot Class A. I should say I drove it. She passenger, but I overextended myself. I drove for 6 hours and I was wiped out. So we pulled over at a truck stop, and I remember going in, and she's like, "I'll stay out on the couch." And so we shut the engine down, shut everything down, and she was just hanging out, reading and goofing around. I think she was making jewelry. I went in with the dogs and laid down on the bed to take a evening nap, and the window was open. And the next thing I know, I hear a man's voice out in the living area, and I was like, "What the hell?" I jumped up out of bed, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And here's this man trying to talk her into letting him in because he seen we had Alabama plates on the RV, and he wanted a ride to Alabama. And she was telling him, "No, no, no, we're not going to Alabama. Go hitch a ride with a trucker." Right. Um, so that was another situation that was like, what the hell? And those kind of things happen every day, all the time, and that's why it's so important for all of us to stay on point. All of us to stay on point, especially in 2023 with everything that's going on in the crime rate and people losing their minds. I mean, honestly, it's like more and more you get static on your hair, on your arms. People have different triggers. People have different triggers, or you have that that feeling in your stomach, like you're like, oh, like you almost feel like you might get sick. There's a lot of things that happen. Like you almost feel like something's going to happen, and that's one of those things where your subconscious comes in and kicks in and says, "Whew, something's bad's going to happen. Do something, move." You know. Yeah, yeah, the fight or flight. Yep, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh, remaining remnant. You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. Like even when we were in Alabama and the lady tried to stab me, that was interesting too. We've had a lot of weird situations because we traveled so much. We had a lot of good times, right? But we did have some situations where, like, if I wouldn't have been in that stance with my arms up because I just had a bad feeling about her, and then I stepped backwards. And so I was in the position to be able to go forward with a full throttle punch into her, probably into her throat or into her face, wherever. But as I stepped back, I just had this bad shit gut feeling. And when I looked down, she was getting ready to stab me. And she would have got me right in my kidneys if I would not have been paying attention. She would have got a severe stabbing on me. So, it's really important with everything that's escalating at our country, like going into this ozone, twilight bullshit zone, that we all need to be on point and really be safe and careful. Um, I hope that each and every one of you keeps on doing the legwork, keeps on doing the dang thing, because an accident can happen at any time, and a close encounter with death can make you look at things a lot differently, like it did me. And I'm glad that each and every one of you is here. At this time, I want to show part is over. We have some things that we have to get done tonight, but of course, we have to take it out OTWP style. And Alley Cat's here, and so and the gamers here, and Lenora's here, and all of you are here. I appreciate you coming in. You had a situation like that in Cancun. Yep, they do. They do know how to strike and where to strike. And why do people, when they're on vacations, so many people get mugged in that type of situation? Because you're vulnerable. You're in a different place. They know that you're a visitor, you're a tourist, and a lot of people take advantage of that. It's just like I used to always walk with my wallet in my back pocket, and then after going to Mexico, I put my wallet in my front pocket, and it's never left all these years, because it's one of those things. If it's in the back pocket, it's probably going to disappear on you. And I've seen so many people, like, they're not even aware of their situation in a grocery store. Just for example, I went and told a lady, I said, ma'am, you might be in a small town, but you just walked away from your purse in your grocery cart and had your back completely to against, away from it. It could have been gone in a heartbeat. And she's like, well, I didn't really think about it because it's a small town. Well, it doesn't really matter because we have a drug problem here too. It doesn't really matter because people are losing their jobs. It doesn't really matter. You can't make up that excuse. You got to be on point about your personal items, about your body, about getting in and out of your vehicles, being alert. I will tell you a quick story about Omaha, Nebraska. This is when the Crips and the Bloods were really big, and we thought that was the worst shit. Now we have just so much shit; it's everywhere, right? But this is when the Crips and Blood were really big, and they were starting to spread out from California all over the country. So they, of course, they do initiations, and so in Omaha, Nebraska, what was happening, and this will make you really maybe scare the shit out of you to get you on point. Honestly, people were walking out to their cars, and underneath their car would be a gang member. And the gang member, the initiation would be to cut your Achilles heel as you got in your car. That was the initiation. And you think about that, and think about the pain, and think about they were just doing it for sport. They're just doing it for sport. There was no purpose behind it. And if you think about that, and that's why, like, I guess because I was in crime prevention for so long, that I look at things and go, well, always be aware of what's underneath your car. We had another situation in Alabama. There was something under the car. You know what it was? A gator, you know? But if you're not aware of what's under your car, under your vehicle, and you've left it parked somewhere, you should maybe take a little gander from a ways away to be aware of what's going on. If you see someone following you, you know, pay attention. I will I'm going to tell another story, and this one's something. When I was working in Los Angeles, I worked for the CNOA. Yep. Oh, it's one of those four-letter agencies. It was for the honestly, it was for the California narcotics officers, and I worked for them for several years out in California. And I had an office in La Puente, and I was in charge of the office. We put together a really nice semi-glossy publication for them, right? So one day, this man taps me on the shoulder. I went over to the grocery store. It was a big shopping center. And I went over to the grocery store to get a sandwich, and this man taps me on the shoulder. He says, "Come here." And I was like thinking, like, well, like, I don't even know where he came from. And see, that's why I started really being on point about my surroundings, because he just tapped me on my damn shoulder. I didn't even notice him, see him, nothing. And he was FBI. And I was like, and he showed me the badge. He showed me legitimate badge, and I was like, oh shit, what's going on here? And he said, I need you to identify people. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you putting me in the middle of here? And he took me to his car, and I did it because I just really didn't want to deal with it. I was like, oh my gosh, Um, and he basically wanted me to point out who was in my office and who wasn't, or basically point who was in my office. But I got to see a lot of pictures of people that I had no idea. I'd never seen them in that building. It was a small office, one hall, and like three suites, and never seen him in there before until he showed me these pictures. So that's why I'm saying, don't think you're the most cunning slickster, that you're going to be able to get out of every situation. Because just like with the FBI tapping me on my shoulder, I was like, holy shit. And that makes you realize, yep, that's another good one. That's a big thing. Uh, they drop money by the side of your car, like a nice $100 bill, and when you bend over to pick it up, well, they come up behind you and knock you for a loop. It's really important, because you don't want to have a close encounter with death. You don't. Um, you know, I don't. I hope and pray to God that I never go through a situation like I did with that car wreck. But, it's really important. Situational awareness is probably one of the most important things that doesn't take money. It doesn't take anything but time. And you know what a really good way to do it is? Me and my mom did this for several years. We would go to somewhere really busy. We used to go to Estes Park up in the mountains in Colorado. We would go and get a drink, and we would sit on the bench, and we would talk about what do you think that person does, and we would look for people, and we would talk about, this person stuck out to us, why this person stuck out to us, why, and we would try to guess what they did. Of course, you never would know, but the cool thing was is that even me and my mother just sitting there having a conversation would pick up on certain people. And see, that is situational awareness, because for some reason, those people did not fit in. And that's another thing that's where you go in to apply the gray man theory. If you're in a polo and everybody else is in a flannel shirt, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. There's things that you have to learn. If you're driving a BMW and everybody in your neighborhood drives a Chevy and a Ford pickup, you're going to stick out. And when you stick out, it's going to make you a target. It's going to make you a target. Yeah, Mark. Actually, Dragonflies has a what's the baton called? She has a baton that she used to just put the key in there, but we got her one of those spike batons. What's it called? A cup. Shit. I drew a blank. She always did that, Mark, and then she switched it to this little safety baton. It's not very long, but it's a spike, and you carry it on your keychain. It's totally legal. Um, and that's one thing. What is it called? Oh shit, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, here it is. Well, Dragonflies is loaded up though. Honestly, she got she got her pepper spray, right? She got her pepper spray, and then I don't know what the name of it is. There's the other one. She calls it a jabber. I call it an eye poker. But that thing right there will do some a bill. She's no, it's not a billy stick. It starts with a K or a C. I, but it has a really severe point here. You know, um, okay, demo it. Not on me now, Dragonflies. Don't get carried away. No, they can't see it. No, they can't see it unless it's like right in front of my face. But it's not a billy stick. A billy stick is long. But a fudge a fudge or upper stick. Yeah, R. That's exactly what it's called. You know, there it is. Nope, Alan V just said it. A caboton. That's what it is. It's a caboton. Thank you, Alan V. I couldn't Dragonflies couldn't remember. We got several of them. The other thing that we do here in the cabin. Look, oh, Bertha, go sit down. She's getting all aggressive now. She wants to fight y'all. Well, we started some bullshit in here. Watch what you're doing there, Dragonflies. Ooh, lordy. Yeah, that's a monkey ball. That's a monkey ball, Mark. Okay, calm. Dragonflies gets geared up. When you talk about self-defense, she wants to go into kick-ass mode. She, I, I would hate to see anybody ever F with Dragonflies, because if I wasn't around, she'd be like, this is it. She would, no. I'm telling y'all, watch out for your wives, because they might want to practice their self-defense shit on you. They might want to pepper spray you or something. So the slapsticks. Milk and honey, some of it does, yes. Some of it does. Hold on a minute. Let me see if there's one right here. I don't know. I think there's one right here. We have so much stuff everywhere. We have we try to keep. Nope, I don't know where it's at. I would definitely, I would say this, milk and honey. At this point in the game, I wouldn't throw it away. I wouldn't throw it away. I would keep it, because any pepper spray is going to be better than none at all. Would have probably a little less potency, probably. One of the best ones is the bear spray. The bear spray has a long shooting range, and it can really, you know, bear spray is really something. I was trying to see, but I don't know where we have it. I usually have stuff like hanging right here, but I don't know where I put it. We've been cleaning so much that now I'm lost. But I guess that's good. Hey Lee, hey Mama Freddie, Mark Cassidy, Dragonflies. I'm glad to see y'all in the chat. Um, I'm gonna play a song, folks. I hope that everybody keeps doing the legwork. I hope that you stay on point, and the most important thing is to maybe take your kids, take your husband or wife, go somewhere, and when you go there, sit and just watch people and look at who's sticking out to you, and tune in on that sense of why is this person sticking out, and then learn not to be that person. Learn not to be that person that sticks out. Tina Bean, nice to see you. Cindy B. Yeah, wasp spray. People say stuff about it, but honestly, Cindy, I'd use wasp spray. I'd use spray paint. I would use anything. All bets are off when somebody comes at you. All bets are off. Do what you got to do because it's going to be a matter of life or death. And, you know, it's better to use things around you, and that's adapting. Learning to adapt is that what's going on around you is really important. Yep. Yep. Four-inch stilettos, a hip holster, thigh holster, and pepper spray in hand. Well, dang, Royal Linus, you're like, there. This is what I'm talking about. We got badass Bertha preppers up in here. Hairspray and a lighter. Oh no, here we go. Now y'all gonna start getting brutal with it. Jesus criminy, Lord help us. Lord help us. Here we go. To Lenore talking about that's badass. See how y'all are. Lord help us. Well, let's take it on out, folks. I will see y'all soon. I think we have a Mark. How's that new baby? How's that new baby boy? Mark Cassidy. Mark Cassidy. How's the new baby? Yeah, lots of garden tools, and that's a good one, Milk and Honey. Honestly, if somebody dropped Milk and Honey's link, I'd appreciate it. She is the featured channel for the month, and that girl is kicking ass, taking names and doing the dang thing. Y'all need to check out Milk and Honey. She just recently, I think it was today, she did one about her honeybees, and it was so interesting. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Elaine, what's up? Elaine, Mama Freddy's up in the house. Drop it like it's hot, and somebody drop Dragonflies, please. Drop her actual channel. The baby's good. Got some lungs. Keeping our sleep low. Well, you know how you ended up there, right, Mark? What a blessing, though, right? What a blessing, brother. Like my G used to say, my stepdad, he said, "Don't you kids don't you understand how you keep getting all these babies?" Well, yeah. Do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around. Yeah, we got to keep going forward. If you want to donate and help with the Beth D Fund for her services, you can go to the live and you can go to the community page and there's a link to the live, the address and everything's on there. I've been a little overwhelmed this week, this last week. This week just seems like it's just been a blur to me. It's been kind of a weird, rough week. But we all got to stay centered, right? You're welcome, Milk and Honey. Our one, our only Milk and Honey. That's Heather to y'all. Me and Dragonflies both really enjoyed watching your honeybees. Very cool. Y'all need to go check out that video. Go check out Dragonflies. I'm trying to get her back on camera, guys and gals, puff puffs, lurkers, and frogs. Everybody, this goes out to you. We're going to take it on out with the OTWP dancers dancing the night away. God bless you all from here in the Ozarks to wherever you're at. Big, huge prepper hugs. Keep your boots on the ground. Be aware of your surroundings. And most of all, do the dang thing. On a daily freaking basis. There's no prepper burnout bullshit. Thanks for dropping in. If you're new to the channel, we welcome you. and we're glad you're here.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh. Don't be discouraged anymore. You'll find the thing you've been looking for. Pick up the pieces off the floor. Just trust it'll be alright. Your heart is lonely, but it's strong. You might be lost now, and it's not wrong. You'll discover the way, even if it feels long. Just trust it'll be alright. Oh, trust it'll be alright. Be still and know you're loved. Be still and know that you're still good enough. Be still and know that your finish line is only yours to find. Be still and know that you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna make it. Tell all those demons they can hide. They don't know the greatness you have inside. No, stand tall and keep your head up high. And just trust it'll be alright. Yeah. Be still and know you're loved. Be still and know that you're still good enough. Be still and know that your finish line is only yours to find. Be still and know that you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna make it. So never give up, you're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna make it. Believe me, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Yeah, you're gonna.
Take everything we got, give it an honest shot. Turning it on and off, we've been sliding. Riding the highest dream, keeping the fire real. I call for you. Hold your gun, cut the wire. Aim for fun, with a light your fire. I'll be flying up the ceiling, taken by this feeling. Maybe we're invisible at last. Fueling every engine, power is descending. Maybe we're invisible. Over the coming days, let's cut to the chase. We're gonna beat this maze, let's go deeper. I wanna reach it all, taking a leap or fall. I'll get to you. Hold your gun, cut the wire. Aim for fun, with a light your fire. I've been flying up the ceiling, taken by this feeling. Maybe we're invisible at last. Fueling every engine, power is descending. Maybe we're invisible. Hold your gun, ceiling, and maybe we're invisible. Hold your gun, caught the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, caught the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, caught the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, caught the wire, aim for desire. I've been flying up the ceiling, taken by this feeling. Maybe we're invincible. Yes, fueling every engine, power is descending. Maybe we're invincible. Hold your gun, got the wire, aim for fire. We'll light your fire. I've been flying up the ceiling, taken by this feeling. Maybe we're invincible. Hold your gun, cut the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, cut the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, cut the wire, aim for desire. Hold your gun, cut the wire, aim for desire. I've been flying off the ceiling, taken by this feeling. Baby, we're invincible.